Hey everybody, Rob Gauthier, the ET Whisperer. I wanted to thank all of you guys for being so patient and hanging in there. I know I've missed quite a few of the radio shows, and I haven't been able to do an upload every week for the last few weeks, but this last couple months has been the busiest months that we've had for at least 6-7 years, probably ever, in the entire part of our channeling. So I wanted to thank you guys for hanging in there. This is an older clip from Patreon, one of our old Patreon archives, that talks about ancient reptilians or Alpha Draconian beings. And that's interesting too, because Kalina's been channeling an Alpha Draconian consciousness recently, and a lot of things that are said are really contrasted by the perspective of non-Draconians versus Draconians, which if you go to her channel and check it out would be amazing. But it's very interesting to see how these things play out, and to hear Aridif's perspective on why we shouldn't have to fear any being in the galaxy is amazing. But also he gives us the technical aspects of the Matrix and the energy and dimensions and densities and all the things that are involved with Alpha Draconians and human contact. We did this one because I didn't quite have prepared a channeling for this week, and I'm hoping by next week I'll have one or two. Normally we take this time off, but we're trying to catch up on some old makeup sessions before the new sessions start at the beginning of the year. And if you're not aware of what's new with ET Whisperer, you can go to the website, etwhisperer.com. We're doing email question sessions now where you can send in 3 questions through the email, and when you purchase it you get a link to fill out a form. You fill out that form, and then on the day that you schedule for, I channel all of those channelings and then send out the audio separately to everyone within a day or two. So if you're interested in that, check it out. But Happy New Year's, everybody. I really appreciate all of you guys being here. I really love you guys. Thank you for the subscriptions, likes, comments. All of that stuff is feeding the algorithms, and I am very amazed on how much support we've gotten from you guys. Thank you so much, because without you guys being here, there would be no reason to share these channelings in the public. Obviously, we want people to hear them who need to hear them, and all of you guys have lined up your own energy with the energy of what we're doing here. So thank you so much for being a part of this. I love you guys. Happy New Year. And if all of you have been enjoying the art that we have here on the channel, it's by John Craig, who's an amazing artist, and you can check out his Etsy link in the pinned comment along with Kalina's YouTube channel. I wanted to say Happy New Year, guys. I love you guys. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you guys next week on the other side. Looking back into this consciousness, we link back to a species or a race that we've spoken frequently about, that Treb Bor Yit-Ne has spoken even more so about, and that tends to be the race known to as the ancient reptilian consciousness. Now, understand that these entities came from what most of you perceive as a higher matrix. That is the terminology we would use for this. But in our own perception, what we could also call this is a higher density level above the universal consciousness you understand. Now, we do not mean to confuse terms or to continue using different terminology, but we are trying to touch the knowing in all of you. Some of you call this parallel universe. Some of you call this a different version of this universe. Some of you call it a higher dimension. We do not care what you call it. In our perception, it is all the same. In our perception, when you express what a matrix is, it is the exact copy of this universe, just in higher form. Higher form meaning more connection to create a consciousness. For most of you who look in the archangel realm, that is the 13th matrice, that is the highest consciousness available, that is direct connection to creator source in all things. When you look at the earth consciousness, you are looking at 5th matrix. That means you are 4 levels above a dead version of the universe, one where no life grows upon it, but you are also many beneath the concept of where you are directly connected to source energy. So in the same frame, we express that these ancient reptilians come from the 6th matrix. They come because in the 6th matrix, the evolution of the entirety of the universal structure was no longer able to be affected by these entities. In our own matrix, you would look at these entities to be 6th density beings, but we assure you, although they are 6th density beings, they are the longest existing race in the knowledge of history. In all of our galactic archives looked upon, we cannot find a race that is older than these. These entities come from other matrices, outliving all of the life within the galaxy still to this day.
and those entities came into this matrix to express a certain version of their evolution that they desired to impress upon not only this galaxy, but many other galaxies surrounding the local community. Some that are very distant from even your own known philosophy of what the universe is. But eventually they come to this galaxy. This is where they have found a very great way to put their own energy inward. Now, as we express this, we do not wish to convey the concepts of fear, frustration, and we will wrap that up in the end if you allow us to express more detailed information. As these entities come into the new matrix, as they come into the new galactic consciousness, they start showing their own way of evolution. Now understand, 6 density, all the way from a type 1 who is connected directly to source, or at least understands its connection to source, is very different from a type 2 who refuses or cannot perceive the connection it has with that source energy. So in that scope you are looking at the ancient reptilians as the most malevolent type 2 energies, ones who are very disconnected and know their disconnection. In fact, the disconnection is what helps them thrive. But most of you say, 6 density is such a large consciousness. How can something that is evolved in this manner end up being such terrible or negative beings? Well, let us share with you. Evolution is evolution. It does not matter in which way it is polarized. It does not matter in which way the energy or wind blows. Evolution is evolution. It grows in one way or the other. The oversoul, the non-physical beings that exist from 7th density upward do not see bad or good. It is only a perception for us who are physical in nature. They do not see the concept of connected or disconnected. The 7th density oversoul and planetary consciousness, along with galactic consciousness, only see experience as validity. They only see experience to be had or experience to be needed. So that is how 6 density entities can end up being a type 2 malevolent. So in their own breath of air, in their own desire to evolve, they also understand greatly the secrets of the universe. They use that for their own needs. In the understanding and knowing of this, they also know that if allowed continued in an evolution in the consistent manner of all things in the 6th matrix, that they would not be able to stay living too long, that their cycle had ended long ago, but they continue to find ways to funnel energy of one sort or another back into their looping incarnation cycle, to continue not only their physical existence, but also the incarnation cycle of the entirety of their race. So what is it that they use to do this? It is a very different scope of energies. Before, in 6 matrices, they would use the entire nature of a star. They would use all of the fuel within that to put into their technology to allow them to stay separate from source. They used fear afterwards, and that is why they no longer could exist in the 6th matrix. No entities were fearing them at all. This gave them very little promise of existing longer, so they used their technology and infinite wisdom to come through the matrix, the entire race. Now, what a feat this was is unexplainable for the majority of human consciousnesses to understand. This, in any system, had never done before. There are consciousnesses, or non-physical beings, that could traverse through matrices, even 1 or 2 entities at a time, but never the entirety of a race. It is difficult. It is energetically difficult. It is physically next to impossible. But beings so crafty as they were and full of wisdom that they achieved from living a cycle that was much longer than any before, they traversed into this matrix. Now, using that same fear technique where they would scare others, and by scaring or helping them become disconnected, that energy in itself could be used as a usable and tangible force of energy to help incarnate their own reincarnation cycle. So they continued, and they have continued, and leading up into the Orion Wars, coming into this galaxy, they already saw implements of separation, and they used it well. We will continue expressing more of your own galactic history consciousness as we speak further and later, but we decided to understand the need for all of you and the desire for all of you to understand a bit more about where the entirety of that conflict and war started from, where the birthing place of it existed. And we will share with you, finally, the concept of why we do not wish for this to cause fear or panic. Although these entities have used fear as a cycle, they have always ran out of places to go. That is why they no longer exist on the other side of this universe. That is why they no longer exist in galaxies that, in our perception, are somewhat close in the cluster variety. In that way, they come here, and they come here because of all of the consciousnesses who are still playing along with this idea. Humanity is a great thimble of consciousness, expressed and exploded out and through the galaxy, showing your immersion of defeating your own inner fear. You have seen your history of your known history on your planet. Long ago, many of you were much fearful, much more fearful than what you are now. Many of you were much more subdued than what you are now. You are waking up. And what this means is that either ancient reptilian, human, or any other consciousness can no longer feed upon you unless your own will to give in either fear, anger, hatred, or frustration. You can no longer continue feeding them. And once you achieve this great awakening in your own mind and heart, accepting and loving the consciousness within you and then about you, you cut off the line of food for all those who seek it in that format. So we wish to give you on that high note. You are all doing quite well in finding yourself, and continuing this process means that your reality will shift out of a reality that co-creates with those who would use your energy likewise. So in that format, congratulations for creating your own reality and now desiring a brand new one to exist in. As your people and Earth collective consciousness progress, you will see less of them co-creating in this area, but you will already see a change. Now understand, ancient reptilian consciousness is not only that of ancient reptilians. Yes, there are large groups of the entities that in their perception are purebred, or pure, unadulterated physical consciousness that is connected to their own race. But there are also thousands of sub-races throughout the galactic consciousness. Many of the reptilian consciousness upon this galaxy is either energetically or physically connected through DNA to these entities. That is why there is such a bend of consciousness towards fear when it comes to reptilian energy. All of the hundreds of millions of years past, the hundreds and hundreds of billions of years, using numbers that are too large for human reference, in consciousness of years backwards, reptilian energy has affected humanoid consciousness more so than any other, but has always remained within that energy. But now you see, in this now moment, even the one race that is considered to be purebred by their own standards is having groups breaking apart from the larger group. In our perception, through all of our archival history, we have never seen one of their own direct bloodlines leaving. Now they are subgrouping and subcategorizing. Thousands of different parts of different races are separating from what they would perceive as their alliance. It is no longer the one strong, dominating force that was there before, that kept many of not only the humans on Earth, but humans across the galaxy in fear. Now they are dissolving. Some are going into their own version of malevolent type 2s, where they only look at their own power structures, but many of them are starting to move towards the middle or even benevolent type 2s. Some desire so wholly and dearly a transition to type 1 that they are working diligently upon this now. So you see, this energy is less effective upon your reality and will continue to do so until there is no longer needed co-creation with him. And in your Earth's human collective consciousness, by the time that your race in general has mastered the entirety of their heart, they will no longer need that co-creation.
I wanted to thank everyone in our Patreon who helped support me have the free time to do the extra channeling here. If you're interested, go to ET Whisper Patreon, which is patreon.com/ETWhisper. $22 a month, you get access to 2 different channelings per month. One where everyone sends in ideas, we put it in a poll and vote for it. The second is a Q&A. Everyone sends in their questions and their desire of Aridif or Treb answering it, and then we ask the questions, and then we go through them randomly, and whoever's questions get picked goes there. So if you want to be a part of that to get access to that extra stuff, and you want to help support us get more content out on YouTube, the link is in the description. Love you guys. Thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you on the other side.